Listen to this, guys. Oh, hello. Let me introduce myself. I am Johnny Moore, and I'll be talking about the Wright brothers and why they're so important. So yesterday, December 17th, 1903, near my home in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, I saw something amazing. Let me tell you. But first, let me talk about how I met them. So one day I wanted to go fish at the pier, but it was too windy, so I left to go to the market. On the way, I ran into a man filling a large glider, and I decided to check that out instead. At the top of Kill Devil Hill, these two brothers were taking turns practicing with their large glider. Like me, they were waiting for the wind to die down soon, but they were not waiting to fish. Because on top of that hill was a much, much larger version of that glider, and that one had a motor and two very large propellers. As I watched, Orville climbed aboard that Wright flyer and took flight. The flight was very short. He was only in the air for 10 seconds and covered very little distance. The Wright brothers made a total of 5 flights yesterday, with Wilbur making one flight of 59 seconds and covering just over 850 feet. It was clear the Wright brothers had figured out powered flight, but I'm afraid those winds were just too strong, because one big gust blew the Wright flyer end over end, leaving it too damaged to fly. It's so cool having so much be invented recently. I mean it. There's the news, papers, the camera. It's so cool having so much be invented recently. I mean it. There's a camera, newspapers, internal combustion engine, and that pushed these brothers to take the first powered flight. And I'll never forget the Wright Flyer #1. Hello, I'm Charlie T. It's 1908, and I work for the Wright brothers at their bicycle shop. Now, let me tell you how the Wright brothers figured out powered flight. In Dayton, Ohio, there are gliders, but the Wright brothers got into what I call more advanced version. Because those gliders had control surfaces and others were weight controlled. Control surfaces are the rudder and the wing warping, which do the turning. This is the wing warping. The Wright brothers used a wind tunnel to figure out the best shape of the wings. And this is what the Wright Flyer looks like. It flew like this, and yes, it does look backwards. And they had all these features on the Wright Flyer one. And to turn the two propellers, they used bicycle chains from their shop. But the engine that was needed had to be big, and that didn't exist yet, so they couldn't go out and buy one. So I built the engine. It weighed 180 pounds. That's heavier than Orville or Wilbur. The engine was made of cast iron and aluminum. The right wing was a little bigger than the left because the engine weighed more than the pilot. When the Wright Flyer one was fully assembled, it had a wingspan just a bit over 40 feet and the length just over 21 feet. When they made the Wright Flyer 2, they wanted a more powerful engine. The Wright Flyer 2 weighed 200 more pounds than the Wright Flyer 1. And the first two You laid down to fly, but on the third you sat upright, and the engine was much stronger. And the wings on the Wright Flyer 3 were much larger. Next year, I'll help Orf prepare the military Wright Flyer B. Hello, I'm Glenn Curtis, and I used to be interested in motorbikes, but soon after I heard that his bike shop Wright Brothers had captured powered flight, I started working on planes. For planes, I made ailerons, the flaps on the trailing edge of airplane wings, for a system of control. It was different than the Wright Brothers system of wing warping. Instead of turning the whole wing, it only turned parts of the wing. In addition, I've been credited with inventing over 500 things, including several types of wing designs, controls, throttles, brakes, retractable landing gear, and pontoons for amphibious airplanes. The recent event/challenge in New York was going to be great for me. Except once we were in New York, winds were so crazy, so I backed out. But the Wright brothers, however, didn't let the wind stop them. More than 1 million New Yorkers saw the flight. We were going to start up at Governor's Island, up the Hudson River, to Grant's Tomb and back, but Wilbur decided he wanted to fly around the Statue of Liberty as well. Yes, I backed out. Wow. Wrights had modified the Wright Flyer B by taking out several cables in case the plane crashed so the pilot could get out easier and quicker. Wilbur also added a canoe in case he had to make a water landing. Now you know it's possible to fly in harsh winds, and where I get some of my idea from inventions. I'm flying much more often than the Wrights showed me what was possible. I hope in the near future we can travel the world by plane.